Always felt straight, but as an experiment visualized making out with another dude, felt kind of icky determined I'm indeed straight. I too connect to large bodies of water. I find some men to be attractive, a few even very attractive, for example Jason Momoa. But honestly the idea of having sexual contact with another man just does absolutely nothing for me at all. I don't find it repulsive or anything, it's just not arousing in the slightest. I like that I understand myself enough that I can say yeah that is a damn good looking dude and have conversations about that with my wife and our friends, and I'm perfectly fine knowing what turns me on sexually and what doesn't. Never had any gay experiences, but I've tried to visualize it and it just kind of weirds me out. The idea of being sexual with another man definitely makes me uncomfortable. Like others have said, I've found some men to be attractive, but I think the case is more that I want to be them, not be with them. I got a couple of blowjobs from guys and that was all it took for me to realize that I'm definitely straight. You'd think a mouth is a mouth regardless of gender, but apparently not. Didn't figure it out the first time. Not trying to sound like a dick. Was alcohol involved? Side question, I consider myself bi, but I'm not sure what you call it. I'm only attracted romantically and physically to women, but I also love dick. Like I could never cuddle, kiss or date a man, just not interested, but I love getting used, fucked, and sucking d******. I know there are a lot of guys who feel similar, but is there a label for it? Am I wrong for feeling this way? You are what some folks would call bisexual and hetero-romantic. Nutshell, you left a dude, but not date one. I'm straight, never felt curious. I think those guys were bi, but just lean towards women. Could very well be. I've known some guys who said men didn't do it for them generally, but I was an exception for some reason. I consider myself straight, but after many drinks during a dry spell, I hooked up with a good friend of mine who is gay. We made out, and he gave me a blowjob. I vaguely recall giving him a half-hearted hand job, but drawing the line at returning oral. Would never have said that I particularly had interest or felt compelled to try it, but obviously there was some degree of interest if I did it. I have no issue with looking at a dude who is attractive and acknowledging in my head that he's good looking, but I don't feel compelled to ever try it again and would still consider myself straight. Do you have any negative thoughts or feelings about the experience? Or just one of those, that was fine, but not doing it again moments? I examine the thought carefully, then stuff it deep down inside, in my pancreas, IDK. I'm not a doctor, geez. Eventually it will turn to cancer, but at least it will be straight cancer. In actuality, I think some attraction is pretty much guaranteed given that we evolved to find a broad variety of things attractive, and especially non-physical attributes like intelligence, humor, loyalty, and kindness. They just don't translate into a sexual attraction for me personally. I became bisexual, lol. Glad you found yourself. I have an older gay friend who regularly bangs married men and all sorts of I've never done this before guys. I imagine there's quite a few out there tbh. My cousin is gay and tells me he's hooked up with a lot of straight men who have families, wife, and kids, but don't want anyone to find out. I think there's a lot more men like this than we'd expect. Nope. There's nothing sexually or romantically appealing to me about another man. Came here to say this. It doesn't mean I don't have male friends I love very much, and it doesn't mean I'm unable to tell the difference between an attractive guy and an unattractive guy. Although my wife and I sometimes disagree, she perceives some guys I find unattractive as sexy, but I've never had romantic or sexual feelings for another guy. I wanted to know what it was like to kiss another man, both as a joke and genuine curiosity. I have no repulsion to the idea of kissing a man, but I also didn't have an attraction to it. Either way, me and my friend decided we'd make out in front of our girlfriends if they agreed to make out. We kissed and it felt like kissing any other woman I've kissed, except the facial hair part. I satisfied my curiosity, and I got to watch my GF make out with another hot girl. That's awesome. My experience with kissing women is that it wasn't gross, but I felt no sexual charge. I can appreciate a woman's aesthetic beauty, but the carnal feeling isn't there. I've had some curiosity since I was a teen, from time to time looking at gay porn or doing that sex chat rollerplay stuff. For a while I wondered if this meant a big shift in my orientation, but over time I realized that when it came to being around other guys, I never felt anything like that, whereas I have had so many instances of being in a woman's presence and had all kinds of feelings stir up in me. It might be UNPC, but I think most or all of those curious feelings are rooted in sexual frustration, as my luck with women has been pretty bad. I sucked the **** once and now I'm a raving cock gobbler. I'm kidding, but I've grown more bisexual over time. I used to only like really feminine guys, but now I like most kinds of men. Cute femmy boys are still my fave though. Playing with the **** is infinitely more fun than women. Heterosex is easier, but I feel more bonded with men. Cock gobbler is so far. Kind of weirdly, I think some guys look hot, but guys just don't turn me on. I thought I might be bi for a while but nope, no sexual interest in men at all. I just appreciate the aesthetic beauty of some dudes. Like bro, nice body, mind if I stare at your perfectly chiseled abs for a while, but it was really confusing before I figured that out. Bro, me too lol. I look at men and women differently though. Like if I'm looking at a dude it's because I wish I had the features or body they do, and I'm genuinely impressed. When I look at women's bodies, I wish I could have them to do with as I please sexually, and that's a huge difference lol. I'm straight. Love women and their bodies. But for years now I've wondered what it would be like to give a guy a blowjob. I've had dreams where I was sucking myself off, but in reality that's physically not possible for me. So therefore I'd have to give a guy a blowjob. You said bro job one way to find out what it's like. I've never thought about men like that. I have had this conversation with women friends that are straight, and they said the same thing about women. I've simply never been curious. I've always felt straight. When I was 21 at a music festival I made out with a few friends of mine that were gay. I didn't feel turned on in any way, but I'm glad I at least tried, because it confirmed what I already felt. It felt like I was sort of going through the motions with no real connection. Not that they were bad, just wasn't for me. TBH, I think it was the scruff on the face rubbing against mine that really sold me on not enjoying it lol. As humans I feel like we are programmed to be curious about the unknown though. I'm sure there are people who are curious what it would feel like, but also not be gay. Thank you for sharing this, and good on you for being open-minded enough to give things a try. You learned about yourself. IDK if I was really curious Peresi, but I think a lot of guys wonder at some, if even ever so brief, point about the same sex. I thought about it, could see why it would be appealing to some, but that ultimately it didn't make me feel like women did, at all. Considered it a few times throughout my life, always felt the same. So meh, I'm a boring het. I'm okay with this. The idea has never once crossed my mind, not in jest. I'll joke about it with my friends, because everyone can use a laugh and make the one friend really uncomfortable with it all. But I've never looked at a guy and thought I wonder what sex with him would be like. Me either. I'm repulsed by the idea of being sexual with another man. I fucked a guy once out of pure concentrated horny. I wasn't offended or repulsed by the experience, but it wasn't doing anything for me mentally. It was like masturbating with no porn or imagination, just felt kinda meh, and I wasn't really into it. Overall I learned I'm way more interested in women. That was many years ago, haven't considered any guys since. Thank you for sharing. I had a few devil's threesomes in my early 20s, and despite what internet philosophers will tell you about balls and their touching, I knew I wasn't gay despite my total comfort in those situations. I did however walk away with the sudden realization that many things I previously considered binary were likely a spectrum. That may not be exactly what you were asking, but I think it's in the ballpark. It's totally relevant. Thank you for the input. I have simply never had any curiosity. I have a physiological response that is grossed out by the idea. The male body is sexually repulsive to me. 20-yo me was curious, so I decided to test it out. Had a mate I could trust that was gay, so asked if I could kiss him. Softest lips I have ever kissed, but I also worked out I'm straight. It's really nice to be super sure of your sexuality. Created a lot of confidence in that area for me. That's awesome. I bet it made you a better kisser too.